Hi everyone, another coffee and chat today instead of tea and chat. Just decided I would show you the Corner Bouquet stamp set, and I'll be using Heal Your Heart as well from the celebration brochure. So the Corner Bouquet is a stamp set that most of us are saying it didn't appeal to us straight away, but the more we're seeing what people have done with it, the more we're liking it. And this is the Heal Your Heart, which has got fabulous sentiments. Thank you. Hi Jenny, you've got me right at the beginning, so it's good to see you. Wishing I could heal your heart, we're in this together, and so on. So these are the two stamp sets we're using. So I got the inspiration from this from Issy, from Issy's Crafty Bees, I think she's called. She's a demonstrator in Mons Passionettes. And hi. And this is the card that I did. This was her colours that she used on her video, and I think it came up beautifully. Now I experimented with this on watercolour paper, and this is thick white cardstock. I found that actually I think that it looked best on this thick white cardstock, so I'm going to show you the technique. Now those are those colours together, so that's Granny Apple Green, which is a bright, Mango Melody, which is a bright, so you'll be pleased about this, Jenny, because you've got the brights, and Magenta Madness, which is a bright, but it's actually in the in colours for 2020 to 2022. But I'm going to change the colours, and I just want to show you how I decide on what colours I'm going to do. So I take a scrap piece of paper like that, and then I decide, I've got Old Olive this time. So I got Old Olive like that. So it's not as bright as Granny Apple Green, but you might see in a moment why I've decided to choose it. There's the Gorgeous Grape, and then you've got the Magenta Madness like that. So the Magenta Madness is giving you the vibrancy and the brightness in this. Now I might sort of think to myself, well, perhaps I should swap around the Magenta Madness and the Gorgeous Grape. So then just alongside on the scrap piece of paper, I just swap these two around, and then just to see what that combination would look like. And actually I think it's better with the brighter colour, the Magenta Madness, on the outside and the two darker colours below. I don't think it works as well with the Magenta Madness in the middle. So we're going to do it with this combination of colours in that order. So that's how I do like a colour swatch. It's a really good way of playing with colour. So this card was just white with black. This one is a smaller card base. It's 5x5 with Magenta Madness, and then I'm going to actually be stamping on this piece of white, which is just a little bit smaller than the Magenta Madness, which will give a bit of a different look to the card. And this is going to be a thank you card instead of a thinking of you, wishing I could heal your heart sort of card. Now this is one of the stamps, it's a cling stamp that I have put the sticker on because I want to make sure that I get that flower quite vertical. So that's why I need the sticker on it, so to make sure that I get it going into the corner. I would find that quite difficult to eyeball. So we're using sponge daubers for this. So, and you will need a spritzer as well, okay? So I'm just going to start with the Old Olive, first of all, on the green bits where the leaves are. So this is not for a perfectionist, this technique. This is for somebody who doesn't mind things being a bit blurred, colours not being well defined, and so on and so forth. So I'm just doing that roughly where I think the stalks are. And then probably I put a little bit too much on there, so I'm just going to get my chamois and just take a tiny bit off the middle, because I want to put the Gorgeous Grape along the middle to give a variation of colour. I think that was a really good idea of Issy's. I don't know if it was her original idea or whether she'd found it from somebody else. We tend to spin these ideas around between demonstrator and demonstrator. It's great because everybody tweaks it a bit and makes it their own, and you end up with all sorts of new techniques. Now, she quite rightly pointed out there's a little flower just in the middle down there that you don't want to miss out, so I must make sure that gets a good dose of pink. So I'm kind of trying, in this difficult situation with this lockdown, I'm trying to think about doing regular Facebook Lives around tea time. You could say it's tea time in my craft room, because that's near the end of the day. We're just about to make the dinner and we've had a good day. I've been out for a walk this afternoon with a friend at Bidston, We did keep our social distancing and so on and so forth, but it was nice to get out and see Liverpool from the top of the hill and to see the bare trees, birch trees. There were quite a few birch trees actually. I'm learning about trees from my son who's doing a diploma at Kew Gardens. So we got our 3 colours there, and I'm going to huff on it. I could have used Stampin' Right markers, and perhaps I'll do another one another time with Stampin' Right markers. I've just noticed there's a lack of colour just in one spot here. I can just see that. And then I just want to put a little bit more purple, I think, on here. Like that. I've no idea how this is going to turn out. Now, I take my spritzer. Now, as one of my ladies will tell you, I tend to spritz too much, so I'll try not to spritz. Hi, Amy. I'll try not. And Amy, you know who it is. It's not you. I know it's not you. You know who it is who tells me that I spritz too much because you heard her saying it to me this morning. So I'm just going to spritz off screen and get that spritzer, and let's hope I don't spritz it too much. So I've spritzed it. Don't know if you can see there. I've spritzed it. I'm just going to centre that, and I can see where I'm stamping it here. It is a cling stamp, so I don't need the stamp mat underneath. I'm doing this on the silicone mat because when I'm doing things to do with water, watercolouring, spritzing and so on, I tend to use the silicone mat because you can easily clean it off afterwards. So just stamping that down, holding it there to allow the paper to absorb the ink. Now we're swapping over at the moment from Whisper White, which their stockist sadly went into liquidation because of COVID. So they've had to resource and change it from Whisper White to Basic White. We're still waiting to get the Basic White. So this is actually another brand of white cardstock in the meantime. So now that's interesting because this has come out slightly brown, but I don't mind that, that's okay. But I think between the two, I actually prefer the yellow. Now this would have been a situation where it might have been good for me to use this Stamparatus because then I could have gone over in yellow. I can't do that now because I can't see where to exactly place the stamp. But you know what I'm going to do? This is going to be a bit longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to just grab my Stamparatus, which I always keep to hand because I'm actually using it more at the moment. And I'm going to do it with Stamparatus. I'm just going to grab, it's going to be a Christmas stamp set going underneath. I always put, can you see that? Yeah, I think you can see that now. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over. We always have a second chance, which is great. And I'm going to clean off the stamp. And I'm going to position it and use the Stamparatus. And this time I'm going to use the Stampin' Right markers and we'll see the difference. Okay, so I'm going to close up my ink pads. I haven't done it with the Stampin' Right markers yet, but what I'm going to do is use the Stampin' Right markers and then I'm going to spritz it. Now, hopefully you can see that. Let me just move the camera over that way a bit. There we go, I think you can see that. Hi Julie, good to see you. Happy New Year to you. Okay, so I'm grabbing my Stampin' Right markers. And isn't that wonderful? I've got a whole box of Stampin' Right markers. It's fabulous. I get to look at all the colour families all together. So I have quite a choice of greens. I think what I'm going to do this time is I'm thinking on the spot, which is always great fun. I'm going to get out, I think, Coastal Cabana. I'm going to get out a yellow, but it's going to be Daffodil Delight. And then the green I'm going to use, I think, I'm going to go for the Old Olive again. So I'm going to go for those 3. This is going to be interesting. And hopefully I've got all the Magenta Madness off my stamp. So let me just move this so that you can see me actually colouring it in. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So let's go. I'm going to go for the blue first. So this is easier because I've got more control, obviously, because I can find all the flowers and just colour in the flowers. So Julie, what I'm using is Corner Bouquet, which is one of the celebration stamp sets, which I think most of us thought when we first saw it, oh, I don't want that because I don't think I can do a lot with it. But actually you would be amazed at the different techniques. And I'm a technique girl, as you all know. There's little flowers in here, you see. So by doing it this way, I can get all these little flowers that are down there. And I think that's just about it. There's another type of flower there. I'll just, while I'm at it, I'll just get the other cards I've made with this stamp set to show you. Just grab, if I can find them, where I've put them. happens always when you're on a Facebook Live, that you can't find the cards that you had a moment ago. I can show you that I've done with it, which is interesting, where I've stamped and embossed in white, and then I use my blending brushes to blend different colours over. I'll just have another quick look to see if I can find the other ones. Nope. I had them out a moment ago and put them down, and I shall leave it for now and show them to you tomorrow night at my catalogue launch. So let's carry on before this dries out. Let's now go for the yellow, and I'm just going to put a little bit of yellow. And the amazing thing about this is that, in fact, if I didn't spritz it, I would be able to just gradually build up the colour using the Stampin' Right markers until I was happy with what I had. So now I'm going to go for the Pear Pizzazz. This is, no it's not, it's Old Olive to give a stronger green. So just make sure I get the stems in like that. Interesting to see the difference as to how this comes out. Whoops, I don't want it up there. What I want is yellow up there. So let's just take that there. And I think I might actually just add a little bit of Gorgeous Grape. Just these little spotty flowers just here. And they're repeated over there. And I've got a little bit of green, yellow I need to fill in here. And then I think I need to put a little bit of blue on there. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. It really doesn't matter if you don't get everything. But anyway, that's that. Now I'm going to take my spritzer. I'm going to spritz a couple of times off screen and then try and make sure I keep my distance so I don't. So now I'm going to move that so that you can see what I'm doing when I actually stamp it down. Now actually I shouldn't have this mat in here because this is a cling stamp and it's quite thick because it's got the red rubber underneath the sponge bit. It's the sponge bit that makes it thick, but I forgot to take it out. But actually you can get away with it, but I wouldn't do it regularly because it's probably putting more stress on the hinge. Oh, that's interesting. So look at that. The Coastal Cabana has come out a sort of purple colour. Look at that. So I now permanently, because you know I'm a technique girl, keep a roll of kitchen towel permanently in my craft room. I recommend it actually, because you never know when you're going to need it. So I'm just going to put that over like that to dry off some of this. I need to read your comments. No, it's okay. You're watching. Oh, look at that. How did the Coastal Cabana come out that colour? My goodness, that's really extraordinary. You've still got a little bit of the magenta madness. I'll never be able to get this again. But I love the little streak of purple there and there. I shouldn't say that about my own cards, but anyway, there we go. So obviously now, the magenta madness. So this is the black card background, which would have gone with that. So I'll show you the original card, Julie. That's the original card, which I got inspiration from Issy, from Issy's, I think, Crafty Bees, it's called, her group, or something like that. So I did it here with Old Olive, Gorgeous Grape and Magenta Madness, and that's what it would look like. But I think that looks a bit dull, so therefore I decided to do something else. And obviously that looks the wrong colour, so I need to think about what colour I'm going to put behind it. And I think I might actually go with, and I'll see if I've got it, go with Highland Heather. So let me just see. This is my stash of, this is my bag I have with the card base spare pieces of cardstock. So when I run out of cardstock, this has usually got some. And I have got some old colours in as well. So I've got the purples here. And this is how I decide on my colours. I'll get rid of the Magenta Madness because it's the wrong colour. So I just hold it like this. So if anybody wants to give an opinion, there's that one. There's that one is not the right colour. And I have some Wisteria Wonder, which went out a couple of years ago or so, which I think is that colour. I think that'll go. What do you think? Do you think the Wisteria Wonder, do you think it's a bit dull compared to Let me just grab the Highland Heather. I think the Highland Heather gives it a bit more pizzazz, but what do you think, girls? I think that's a bit dull with the black, and I think that is a bit more interesting, although it's not absolutely spot on. I think I'm going to go with that one. I suppose I could, actually thinking about it, put a yellow behind it. So let's just see if we've got a yellow and see what that would look like. It's amazing, the colour that you no, that's not right. We're going to go with the Highland Heather, I think. So bear with me if I just go and cut the Highland Heather. In fact, if I grab my trimmer, I can do it here. So let's just keep that, put that at one side, grab my trimmer, remind myself what size this is, 4 1/4. I think it's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. So if I just cut this 4 1/4, chuck that on my desk by 4 1/4, and then, whoops, just altered that, that's better. Highland Heather, thanks Amy, I'm glad you agree with me. Great minds think alike, that's what they say. I'm sticking with it. Highland Heather is definitely better. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is to stamp the thank you, which I did put on a block. Here it is. So I'm going to peel off that one. And this is the thank you from the Heal Your Heart. It's a really lovely, just beautiful font, thank you. So, Stamper Artist, as we all know, and as this is a red rubber stamp, I'm going to take out Stampin', the Deluxe Stampin' Mat, not Stampin' Mat, Deluxe Stampin' Mat. I'm going to peel that off the block, and I have actually, as I think I said, put that on the background so that I place it exactly so that I can see that it's straight. There's nothing more annoying than not putting straight. Now, the other reason I'm using Stamper Artist, if I didn't explain it before, I'm just going to have a little sip of my coffee. This is not tea, it's coffee, even though it's tea time. It's a Taylor's coffee bag. I don't know if you tried them. I got them in Tesco's. Something Java it's called. It's absolutely delicious. So just in case this didn't stamp as much as I wanted it to the first time with the Stamper Artist, as you all know, because I think those watching have got one, I can always do it again. But I'm actually happy with that. Isn't that a lovely font? It's just so simple and it goes with the flowers, I think, so well. So I just get my trusty Tombow and stick it all together. So forget that one, we're not using that one. Definitely Issy had the upper hand on that with her choice of colours, was definitely better than my choice of colours. So it's good to learn from each other, isn't it? It's that, it's needing the brightness. We need those brights, particularly at this week with all this lockdown and everything and what's going on around us. We need bright colours to just cheer us up, really, I think. Take our mind off things. So let me just try and get this straight. I'm sort of looking around the iPad so I don't get it quite straight, forgive me. What a simple card is that. Now there's one last thing I need, and that is some embellishments. Whoops. So I'm just going to find, I have a box here full. These are sort of mainly current embellishments, full of them. But I have another box, which used to be a sort of punch. I got this on the clearance rack a while back. This other box, which had a punch and stamps in. And this has my retired embellishments. So gives me even more choice, and in this box I have these which have sadly now retired. You could do the equivalent by colouring some white gems with your blends pens. So I have to decide now whether I want to have the green or the purple, and I was thinking along the lines of the purple. Also, these were, I think, with the Halloween stuff about 2 years ago. I think that purple is probably better, actually, because that's, this is a sort of not as bright as the other one. So it is useful having a variety of colours. I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, which I find is brilliant for putting gems on with. So, I mean, a pearl would look nice there, or just gems would look nice there. Now, I could have put a pearl in the centre of the flowers, but I think that I'm just going to put on the embellishments straight as they are. So I'm just going to put on one there. I always, as most of my ladies know, do everything in threes, and probably I'm terribly boring. I usually put things in the same position, but this time usually I would do a triangle, but this time I think, let's see, I am going to do my triangle again. That's from scrapbooking days when you sort of do things in triangles. So there you are, girls. There's the finished card. And see if I can lay my hands on the original. So this was the first one, Wishing I Could Heal Your Heart, which is actually brighter. And this is a very simple thank you card. So I hope that if you get this stamp set as a freebie during celebration with a £45 spend, that you will enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying it. And hopefully tomorrow night at my catalogue launch Zoom meeting, I'll be able to show you the other cards that I've made with this set. So take care, enjoy your evening, and see some of you tomorrow. Bye.